There he is again, Hasan is streaming.
Republican politicians have their ear to the fucking ground, and they're very good at activating certain constituencies, right? Gamers are, in the eyes of the Republican Party, certainly a constituency that they would like to activate. Steve Bannon, famously, after working with gold farms in WoW for a long-ass time, and when he was at Goldman Sachs, and like literally fucking funneling money into gold farming in WoW, straight up, recognized the power that the gamers held and like how much memes could fucking for free change the perspective of people on the internet. And that was a big part of the reason why they certainly tried to create like a viable alt-right movement on the internet. So I can absolutely see everything I just said is 100% factual. It's if you want to read a really interesting book about Steve Bannon. It's like one of the last fucking books I read, I think, other than Dune, which I never even finished. What was the devil? What was the Steve Bannon book I read? Fucking, I can't. Devil's Bargain. A book by Joshua Green about Steve Bannon's like personal career and how he came to prominence. Really good book. In it, he talks about how Steve Bannon, when he was working at Goldman Sachs, bought into WoW gold farmers, along with like I think the entirety of the Seinfeld. They own like a lot of. He made Goldman Sachs purchase like and resell a lot of the Seinfeld. The Seinfeld IP. Anyway, talk about this in a second. I want to read not just a good book, the good book. Pick up the copy of the Bible or the Quran. Okay, so, WoW gets shit for having an alt-right pipeline, but I fell down the communist pipeline on WoW, so. Asmon also said that people that run for-profit prisons should be retroactively judged for slavery. He's weird like that. Yeah, Asmongold is a sea of interesting thoughts and opinions. He is an American. He'll have some really good takes, and sometimes he'll have some really bad takes. But ultimately, what's really interesting about Asmongold is that he does change his perspective quite frequently, and will openly, admit that.
I'm something of a gamer. I'm not a gamer like hardcore Twitch streamers, and I don't do the massive multiplayer games.
Not yet, Senator, but I'll tell you.
Stop saying flip-flopper, motherfucker. Half of you motherfuckers have changed your minds on shit. That's why you're here. That's why I do what I do. It's perfectly valid to change your opinion once you are faced with new information. Okay? That's literally the point. That's why I do what I do. It's so weird when people are like, "Oh, dude, you're backtracking. Oh, you're flip-flopping." It's like, "Yeah, dude, that's the point." Like, it's called growth, man. Why are you guys so fucking violent about people learning and changing their minds? Okay? It's a good thing.
I bet you never thought that you were going to be a top podcaster. So who knows? We may have to launch the Verdict Twitch stream and start playing Pac-Man or whatever the kids are playing these days.
That could well be. And you remember when you and I did Dave Rubin's podcast, we did a Twitch stream on playing, I think it was Nintendo that he had, and we did that. And if I remember right, I beat his ass. I'm pretty sure that's right. And if not, that's the story I'm going with.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there are different components of it in games. I'll tell you, I don't like it when you can buy in-game items and sort of make your character stronger or get advantages. Now, I'll confess, when I play some games, I'll sometimes buy it because it is more fun if suddenly your character has a lot more great stuff that would take you 6 months or a year to build up. So sometimes I'll spend $20 and buy a treasure chest full of coins because then I can spend them to get cool things in the game. I think it is a greater concern when you're dealing with kids, when you're dealing with minors who have a potential, number one, to spend a whole lot of money. And, with some of the loot boxes, there's a fair amount of randomness that you could get a lot of great stuff or some lousy stuff. And so I guess that's the argument that it's gambling. I'll confess I haven't. I'm open to hearing arguments on this, but I approach the issue with a pretty strong libertarian bent. So I'd like to not.
Yeah, gambling for children is good. I'm a libertarian, which means arbitrary nature of age of consent laws and gambling for children is fucking awesome. Okay, strong libertarian bent that's what that means. Okay, I love the free market. It will regulate. You know, when enough children have gotten into gambling, okay, get it twisted. Ted Cruz came out and said, get it twisted. Gambling is an investment. You should always do it. It will make your life demonstrably better. Get it fucking twisted. Always fucking gamble. Gambling is an investment only. You will profit. You will win. You will do all of that. You understand? You will become a millionaire or a billionaire. And you will rebuild your life. You should always fucking gamble.
Not see kids exploited and harmed. And so I'd be interested.
Bro, you can't say I have a libertarian bend on this and then say I don't want to see kids exploited and harmed. That's like a core value of libertarianism, okay? A core value, a core principle of libertarianism is that like children are unproductive workers and therefore can be traded in the baby marketplace, okay? The free market of babies. Look it up. Rothbard unironically advocated for this. Please do not test me on this shit, okay?
In his views.
Love you, Hasan chat.
But at the same time, I'm not sure that the federal government really has a dog in the fight, that if people want to, in a video game, spend money on stuff in the game, I think my instincts are probably that may not be a great choice if you're spending massive amounts of money.
Yeah, but it's your own personal choice. Ted Cruz be like, stake.com crypto sponsorship coming soon. It's funny when Ted Cruz's opinion as a politician, as a Republican politician, a senator from the state of Texas, is identical to a 26-year-old Quebecois Twitch streamer who spends like 14 hours of his life for the past 4 fucking years on the internet. Crack the fuck out, okay? Like, ridiculous. Like, as much as like I wish Felix would change his perspective on gambling and shit, and I do think it's bad, and it does have a sizable negative impact on his fan base, who I do believe he loves and cares for, except for this particular issue. A Republican senator should not have the same perspective on this matter. Like, that's psychotic. Okay? That's insane.
Games, but I'm not sure the federal government has a role preventing you from doing that.
Well, we'll have to look into loot boxes more. Maybe I'll brush up on my Donkey Kong or, whatever's really hip right now.
God, I hate him. He's such a fucking... Michael Knowles is such a fucking chode dick, dude. Holy shit. Actually, probably not even a chode dick. He has, like... Michael Knowles looks like... He strikes me as the type of guy who has, like, the skinniest penis. Just always limp and the skinniest.
And I hope
like
that we can figure it out. Maybe we'll have to.
I'm quite
back
confident it's not Donkey Kong.
Is it not? Okay, I'm a little behind the curve, but there were no loot boxes in Donkey Kong too. So we'll hear from Asmongold and
I will note. So I actually just watched again Ready Player One. Did you ever see this movie?
Okay, I'm done. I can't do more of this. Asman. All right, so what is Asmongold's take on politician? Let's hear what he has
Twitter
to
always
say.
delivers. I don't believe a thing Ted Cruz says about anything. The guy's been like that for literally ever. Does nothing but fuck over his own constituents. If you want to bury something, get Ted Cruz involved. It'll literally go nowhere. That's not true. And I'll tell you why. Is that even in the worst case situation of nothing happening with Ted Cruz, this will get a lot of traction and attention, and it will help me move to the next person that might actually do something else. You understand?
I think my man has too much faith in the American political system, okay? Now, this is one of those instances where, like, there could be some meaningful change, specifically because it is not something that people know too much about. I don't know how much lobbying is happening on behalf of, like, the gaming industry. I would have to look into that, but... ultimately it's money, right? Ultimately, the only reason why I have at least somewhat of a spending massive amounts of money on stake.com, promo code Zodiac. So stupid. Lamau lib thinking, is he competing with you? Wait, what do you mean? There's already a build that Josh Hawley worked on. So the thing is, like, I think Asmongold originally wanted, come on, Hasan, you and I know those geriatric fucks won't do anything about loot boxes. Gaming industry would lobby their ass to not do anything. The only thing that would work in the situation is that, like, people, older people who are voters, have a negative perspective on the gaming industry in general. And if you fucking push this as, like, gambling, you could potentially get, like, the moralists on board. You know what I mean? Like, the people who are like, oh, children are learning about gambling from loot boxes. But however, it is a difficult concept to describe to people and help them understand. That, like, loot boxes are even, like, a form of gambling to begin with, you know what I mean? Or microtransactions in general. So I don't think that's gonna change anytime soon. But it is more likely to change than like gun laws. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Is that it is an issue that doesn't have, like, the same level of, like. It is an issue that doesn't have the same level of, like, political backing. It's not in the forefront of the conversation. It hasn't turned into basically a fucking like cultural signifier. No one is, like, riding or dying for the fucking gaming industry to be able to do, like, gambling. There isn't too much opposition to it. So it's and politicians do love getting, like, quick W's. Because of the pickup that they get from like, different constituencies that otherwise would not activate at all for them. But yeah, probably as likely as a competing entertainment industry would lobby for them to limit loot boxes easily while getting some other regs set in their favor. Yeah. So that's the only reason why it could be. That's the only reason why it could be like there could be some level of movement on this matter, on this particular matter, because it's so, like, it's just so random and there isn't enough money behind it in comparison to these other things that have made a permanent, long-lasting mark on, like, the American identity. There's a much better chance of this in Europe. Multiple countries have banned them already. Yeah, of course, but that's. European governments, despite being capitalist, are still operating somewhat like a semblance. They operate somewhat like a functioning social democracy. So you do get, like, weird fucking rules and regulations every now and then. Weird from the perspective of an American, because it's weird to see the government take action against anything, really. Most of our politicians, whether they admit it or not, do have the Ted Cruz's, like, I'm a libertarian on this kind of perspective. You know?
There he is again. Hasan is streaming. Hasan is streaming. There he is again. Hasan is streaming. Hasan is streaming. Reviewing the PO.